Hey fellow crafters, Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Flotsam. Episode 4, Advanced Fabrication brings the town to a whole new level. So this electrocrafter needs to be plugged in. So we're going to go to the power and run a power pole. I'm going to run one power pole here, and one power pole here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Your town heart can connect up to 6, so I'm laying out 6 in basically all the cardinal directions. Then we hit connect like this, plug, plug. So now the town heart is connected to the electrocrafter, and I can make electronics or electronics. And I can also make batteries, but I don't yet have the bioacids for that. Into the crafting tab, we are going to want to make electronics up to 20. Done. Alright, I have high need for wood to do wood stuff with. How's our plastics? Plastics are kind of okay, so I'll get 1 node of plastics, but I really need a lot of wood so that we can start desalinating and cooking. And Daedora, thank you for the gifted subs. I'm glad you're excited about being a colonist. I assume. I might as well connect to the other poles. Oh, that one's too far. So I'll have to change this pole's location. Apparently the one to... yeah, that isn't too far. Oh no, it is. Break that one down too. So, in terms of resources, metal is a need. You know what I could do? I could put a pole there. Looks weird, but it'll work. I'm not going to worry too much about putting a pole to the north because I don't need electrified homes all that likely anytime soon. And if we do, I'll figure it out. Not a big deal though. Where'd my... oh, my metal plates became tools. Oh well. We're gonna need more metal. Luckily, there was a truck nearby, right? Yeah, there's a truck there, and there's some buildings that we can scrap. Perfect. So bioprocessing just got researched. Bioprocessing. I will start to make the bioprocessors next, but what this allows us to do is... Bio-waster allows you to turn biological materials into waste, which then you can process in a boiler, which then makes processed goods with the waste. Think of it as like complex composting. All right, there's the poll for the next research. Am I going to recycle furniture again? I should. Thank you for reminding me. So, go to the recycler here. Recycle plastic scrap. And then go to the chopping block and recycle furniture scrap. And that will help with our firewood and plastics. I'm going to collect bio-waste now. Because we have something to use it with. So the next things I want to craft is the bio-waster and the bio-boiler, which we need metal for. So once we're done scrapping here, I'll head over to the truck and grab some metal. Now, in terms of research, there's these symbols here. The flower symbol, the crops symbol, the architect symbol, the doctor symbol. These are specialists. Little spoiler. But once you have the radio tower, you can seek out specialists, because I won't be able to start farming without a farm. I won't be able to start having seed banking or grass walking without a botanist, or medicine without a doctor. And that's what the radio station essentially does. To tell you what the radio tower research is. Oh, we're not done yet. And it looks like upgrade fabrication. Upgrade fabrication is real important because it makes your town heart lighter and faster and more fuel efficient. And the fabricator is, you're going to make a bajillion things in it. Now our food is not as great as it could be. We need seaweed for it and firewood. Well, we're getting fuel, but we're going to need seaweed for it. Got it. Now that we're feeding 5, not 3. Oh my god, finish up with these damn ruins. Grab that plastic. Actually, forget it. Don't even grab the plastic. I don't really need it. I've got 20 floaters and 26 plastic. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway, just so that it gets gray so I know not to come back. It'll only take a moment. Done. Okay. I need seaweed. Oh, potatoes would be good too. Seaweed, potatoes, and metal. Now, my 2 cents. Oh, I'm out of power. You only need so much. I generally don't grow my town at this point besides specialists, because there is a lot of specialists. There is a botanist, farmer, doctor, architect, chemist, engineer, rancher, aquaculturist, rocket science. You know, there's a lot of required specialists. And if you fill your town up with like non-specialists, you're gonna maybe struggle a little bit trying to scale up to manage to feed an enormous amount of people, because you are somewhat limited into how fast your ship can move. So at some point, if you grow way too big that you just can't physically get to resources fast enough, you like, unless you have a massive floating farm or something, it could be a bit of a extra labor intensive if you have a lot of mouths to feed. In order to speed up salvaging, I'm going to also add a few more mooring points. I'm going to bring my mooring points up to up to 4. In my salvage ships. Just so we can speed up the wreck salvaging a little faster. Doubling our capacity. Thanks for helping me spend money. You're welcome. I hope you enjoy it. There we go. Now we can have 4 people salvaging instead of 2. Which should be helpful. And I'm not bothering with the generator. We already have 2 generators. I don't need a 3rd at the moment. All All right, so I do see our food is low. We can always just cook the gobblers into not as nice meals, so I'm not worried about that. Because, and certainly the ocean's full of nibblers, and I'm next to potatoes, so it's not really an urgency. One thing I could have done to speed this up is to sail my town over to the interaction spot, but we're done. Potato time. And then seaweed time. So here we should see like a whole bunch of boats. Yeah, there they go. Fleet of boats going out. Harvesting all those potatoes. So potatoes mix with nibblers. So we ought to also fish up some nibblers from the ocean too, if we want to turn those potatoes into decent meals. And here we go. Bio-waster. I'll put here. And you can waste any organics, but I would suggest initially only turning seaweed into waste. Which means I'm going to hit infinity on the bio-waster for seaweed only, and say only make up to 20 waste. So a lot of our seaweed is going to become bio-waste, but some will become meals and some will become rope. And getting the seaweed farms going might be pretty helpful in this. My current goal is get fabrication going, which is why I want the bio-waster to start wasting stuff. Let's head over to the potatoes and then the nibblers and fill up our food, because our food is kind of low. Oh, there's even flounder out here. I'll fish that too. So how many nibblers are there? 16? Not bad. Does the salad spinner become redundant at some point? Yes. At some point, you will not need your lower tier processors. Unless you have some sort of emergency or something. So yeah, it does become redundant. Oh, wow. I've had a lot of people level up. Was not noticing. So Brody, go for water processing. Deodora, go for crafting. And Rayvac, go for research. Tamarin, thank you for the reset. Now I would say at the moment, biggest bottleneck is the lack of firewood to be able to cook our food. I can get furniture for farm ruins, wet wood, and cut down trees, and that should help a lot. Now that I have like the passive dryers, it's not a lot of labor to just use driftwood. And then a lot of the farming ruins you can actually find demolition tools, so you don't have to make it yourself, which saves you plastic and rope. Right, so the other half of the equation is the bio boiler, and for that I need some more metal, so I need to go seek out some metal for that. And I'm probably not going to find metal until I really go into towns, because that's typically where you find the metal, so I doubt I'm going to find a whole lot of it in these like farming ruins. Farming ruins don't usually have a lot of metals. So we're going to have to go not into the rural areas, but in the pseudo-city area. So I'll head here to my southeast to hit up those buildings for metals. Plus there's a car on the highway too. Here is the bio boiler, which I like to put right next to the bio waster because they feed off of one another. I don't have power tools to salvage the rotor. But I do have the potential to make power tools if I have one more metal plate. I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to get the metal plate here, because I don't have any metal salvage, which is too bad. So here's the bio boiler. And the bio boiler can make compost, which makes like farms and stuff, fish oil. And I'm going to queue up some fish oil now. So let's compost. I'm going to do until 10, fish oil 10, biogas 10, glue 10, and charcoal 10. And that's what the bio boiler does. Glue requires flour, which is a long way off, I think. And then carbon is like just firewood and wood. Biogas is what we're going to want a lot of. Just take my word on it. We're going to want a lot of biogas. So we need a lot of firewood for that stuff. So going over to our woodcutter, a lot of the dry wood that we end up getting will be cut into fuel for that process. So I want to just like get a hell of a lot of wood for this, so that I'm not nickel and diming everything constantly. And the good news is, we have a lot of nibblers and potatoes for food. So we have a bunch of food queued up on the grill. So that should be easy to keep us fed for a while. Oops. Sorry, whoever was swimming. I, like, started taking off without them. So I'm going to head into the town looking for metal, looking for wood. And that should allow us to get the some of the remaining crafting that we have yet to build. I'm not gonna... no, I'm gonna get plastic junk too, because I'm low on plastic floaters again. I will get the bio-waste this time. And appliances for electronics. I'm gonna try to park between all 4 of these buildings. Perfect. And my fleets of vehicles will just resource strip the area. So, the important ones that I had mentioned. We are definitely going to want a fabricator. A fabricator uses the biogas and tools. Trying to rotate it. Doesn't want to rotate, that's fine. And then we're going to want the power tool maker as well. Can you improve your salvage boats? Sort of. You can make them the dock moorings lighter, but that's about all you can do. Okay, the Fabricator. So the Fabricator allows you to make gas bags out of floaters and biogas. And gas bags can be used to upgrade buildings to reduce the building's weight, which is going to be really important because at some point the town's going to get so heavy we can't move. So that's why I said get a lot of biogas, because that's the main ingredient for gas bags, and you're going to want loads of gas bags, like 100 gas bags to be able to float your town a little bit better. It allows lubricant. Lubricant primarily is used to upgrade your town heart to reduce the town's movement energy cost by 10%. So we're really only going to need 5 lubricant for that upgrade. We don't need more than that. So for lubricant, I'm not going to have limits. I'm going to leave lubricant on infinite because I'm not going to infinitely make lubricant. What I do want to do is to make 10 gas bags. Plastic floaters is not something we're going to make anytime soon. Torque thrusters we don't need a lot of. The air filters I'm going to make up to 2. The sleep respirators up to 2. So then the rest of the things on this Fabricator. The torque thrusters allows us to move the town a little bit faster. 25% faster. And again, we're only going to want 1 of those ever. So I'm going to queue up 5 lubricants, 1 torque thruster. And for torque thrusters, we need power tools to be able to salvage a rotor from either like a windmill or an engine or something, a truck, something like that. And then also plettle, which is like plastic metal merge, which for that we need a hydraulic press, which we get later on. Air filters allows us to upgrade our houses to be able to remove pollution from our bodies while we sleep. And for that we need carbon and mushrooms require gloves, which is one of the tools that we had queued up earlier that I hadn't made any of. So gloves we'll make up to 4, but we haven't made any gloves yet. Gloves require fish oil, and fish oil we are queuing up, but fish oil is firewood plus gobblers. And then the sleep respirators I'll queue up to make up to 2 of them, but like we aren't going to use those until we get a doctor. And then the plasteel floaters are so far down the line, that's basically endgame tech. So the plastech floaters don't worry about yet. So here we go, the Fabricator. So the current priority right now is to get fabrication going and make floaters. Or make gas bags, rather. So that we can lower the town's weight. And that needs floaters, which is plastic, and biogas. Biogas is basically intentionally composted organics, in this case seaweed. So we're going to just need a whole bunch of seaweed. And fuel, for that matter. So Fab got done. My 2 cents for next upgrade. Air filtration would be pretty handy. Or radio communication, which leads to hydraulics for plettle. Those, or electricity storage or manual power storage if power becomes an issue. Those are kind of like good directions to go. Alright. Stripping this whole town of resources. And we're back into the aesthetic negative. So if we take a look at like an average person living in an attractive town, I'm going to want to solve that as well. So we're going to get another wood plaza. Sticking it right next to our original one. And that means, I'm going to pause the game for a second. Stop scrapping our junk. And plastic junk. Because we're going to want to decorate another plaza town. Because you don't want to drop into the negatives. It's pretty easy to avoid. Especially now that we're in a town grabbing furniture and plastic junk. Power storage. Got it. And here we go. We're making our first gas bags. So with these gas bags, we can click on any building. Let's do the recycler and reduce the weight, which is a permanent upgrade, lightening it up so that we don't start pushing towards weight maximum. And you're going to want to like gas bag everything. It's not unreasonable to just add it everywhere for everything. Signs of life? Cool. In this park, we'll add, I don't know, I'll have to figure out what I want to put in there. But I think we're done with this area. So yeah, let's push it. I'll hit up the rural ruins before we keep moving. Oh, we're now in the decoration positive, right? So it's a plus 10, right? It goes from -5 to +5, so it's not a lot of work to just make it a little bit more decorated, and it's a lot of benefit mood-wise. Let's do a bookcase with clothing lines. Nice. Looking domestic. Oh, in this case, I am blocking the reaction spot, the anchoring spot for these rural ruins. So I might need to back up a little bit because I can't moor there now. In that case, what I could have done is switched over from boats to swimmers. Or in this case, just like back up a little bit and it's fine. But that's why we weren't scavenging anything. And that might be true here as well. This is the interaction spot for these are where it meets the ocean, so parking right there would be a problem. Alright, I got a lot of nibblers. So food, I think we're pretty good on. Power storage just got researched. So once we have metal plates, electronics, and batteries, we'll be able to actually store power. And 2 of the vehicles here on the bridge have batteries, so I can actually put that to use immediately. Next research project. Manual power would be pretty handy if we want to add more power to the system, because at the moment the only power generator is the crank on our town heart. Radio communications would allow us to find other specialists, and leads to hydraulic press. And air filtration isn't even an option you can vote on. I'll add that. Air filtration is going to be very vital once we start entering the polluted biomes. Because otherwise we die. Woo! Yay, death. Finishing this park. Let's see. We'll do a fountain. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it even simple. 2 plastic paths. And 2 log stools. And once we have that built, I can turn on salvaging again. So I don't have any new gas bags because I don't have any more biogas, so we just need a lot of seaweed for that. And I could start farming seaweed. I never meant to never do it. I just knew that it was an expensive project and I wanted to wait for it. And eventually I can fill in these voids, either when I have an architect and I can move things around, or make mini parks and things like that. They're pretty easy to fill. Okay, I would like to add batteries so that we can store more power. So once we have 1 more metal plate, I'll add a second battery, and that will triple our power capacity. But that does nothing for our power generation. So DJ Doradora is a radio technician, and that allows me to get radio communication. Come on, there we go. Metal plate. Alright, I got 3 more gas bags. It doesn't really matter what I upgrade. It's just look around, find things that haven't been lightened, and lighten them. Things like parks, public parks don't get lightened, so there's no, like, weight capacity bonus for, like, the plazas, but everything else can be lightened up. Yeah, there we go. 2 batteries. That brings our total eels capacity to 3,000. Nice. Now, if we want more gas bags, that is a need for, like, organics. I don't really want to compost potatoes because they're a lot more rare than seaweed. So I want to seek out, like, just a lot, like, there's, you know, hit up a whole bunch of seaweed so we can start to replenish our ropes and make more food. But these potatoes can become grilled up nibblers. Oh, and I'm blocking its anchor point. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, there we go. I was blocking the anchor point. At this point, it might be pretty reasonable to incorporate seaweed growers, finally. So we can have a sort of a passive income of seaweed. So I'll get that going in a minute. And we ran out of firewood, and we needed desalinate water, so I'm cutting down some drywood trees to try to help with that. I can also head to the water tower that we're next to and drain that of water as well. That would help a lot. I haven't done that yet, so we should. Ooh, dead trees. Perfect. Hey, I found wheat. We're heading over to the leaky water tower and draining the water so that we can supply, because we're low. And it starts to wiggle and bounce when you're like critically low on something, so you get a little bit of warning before it becomes dire. Okay, we got radio tower. I intend to build one soon. But what do you want next? I've included hydraulics into the list, which adds a hydraulics adds a hydraulic press, which allows you to make plettle and some other materials as well. Plettle is like a building material that you use a lot. It's like an advanced building material beyond plastic and wood. It's combining metal and plastic together. Okay, that will help with the water shortage. Wood. And let's head over to the dead trees. Once we get these dead trees, I'm gonna get more plastic for floaters because we have the Fabricator finally, but we do not have a power tool maker, and I'm gonna want a power tool maker as well. So manual power seems to be leading. Got it. I'll just do that. So manual power adds another power generator other than this crank. And that's going to be really important once we have a lot more connected to our power grid. Where to go from here? I said I wanted seaweed for biomass, so let's do some seaweed scooping so we can get more floaters. So we're already up to weight 4, and I'd like to keep the weight down if I can. Plus, seaweed is an ingredient for cooking too. That makes the gob kebab. So seaweed and plastics. So we're out of floaters too. Hey, Turtle. Thank you for the cheer. Sorry that you can't say stick around, but thanks for dropping by. DJ, you leveled up. Perfect. Even more crafting. So here's the power tool crafter. And, I'm not sure where I want to put it. Maybe there. And I think that's all of the crafting stations that I have available to me. The other one is the radio station, and I'm going to put that here, next to the forward grill. Ooh, there's lots of seaweed and plastic out here. Perfect. Thank you for tuning in to Flotsam, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Radamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Radamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow survivors.